Today's date is October 1, 2013. The time is now 7:02 p.m. And just a couple of reminders. Please turn off your cell phones or else set your cell phone to vibrate. And we appreciate your cooperation with respect to that request. The council will now please come to order. Welcome and thanks to all of you for taking time from your schedules to attend today's meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may know, we had a terrible vehicular accident on Sunday, September 29th, and it resulted in the deaths of two young men, at least one of whom attends Trinidad State Junior College, and another was critically injured. Since Trinidad is such a small community, this tragedy is affecting us and also our partner at Trinidad State Junior College. Please remember those young people and their families in your thoughts, and I did contact Dr. Simone and extended to her on behalf of City Council our condolences and ask that we be informed in the event they plan any type of memorial service for the student who did perish. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Valencich, would you please conduct the roll call?
Here. Donato.
Here.
Matei.
Here.
Miles.
Here.
Shu.
Here.
Velasquez. Here. Gonzalez.
Here. For the record, a quorum is present and council may proceed with its business. The first action item on the agenda is consideration of approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of September 17, 2013. Are there any corrections or comments regarding the minutes? And if none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Ms. Bolton, second by Mr. Mattei, and I believe we're ready for the roll call.
Bolton.
Yes.
Donato.
Yes.
Matei.
Yes.
Miles.
Yes.
Shu.
Yes.
Velasquez.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes. The next item on our agenda is to conduct a public hearing, and this evening we have two hearings to consider. The first hearing involves, let me get to my little place right here, is an application for issuance of a new hotel and restaurant liquor license requested by PGE Enterprises Limited Liability Corporation, doing business as Crack-a-Lack Sports Grill located at 416 University. And the procedure for receiving evidence concerning the applicant's request for issuance of the new hotel and restaurant license is governed by state law and city ordinances. The applicant has the burden of establishing that the city's granting of the applicant's request is warranted under applicable law. Is the applicant or their representative present? Yes. Welcome. Could I have you step forward and introduce yourself? Sure, you tip that little thing in your direction.
Can you hear me?
There we are.
Okay. Sorry, my name is Richard Ewing. I'm co-owner with my wife, Roberta. We were the previous owners of the Dairy Queen. And I believe at our last meeting that we met, I explained to you guys that we were closing that, just with the history that we had with Dairy Queen for over 40 years of my family. It's just time to move on.
Yes.
In regards to bringing another sports grill slash bar. I want to emphasize the grill part of it. It is more orientated towards food, and letting someone come in and also enjoy an adult beverage. It's not adult beverage driven. So.
Before I let you proceed
I'm
any
sorry.
further, no, that's quite all right. I just need to make sure that the city is also prepared to proceed this evening.
I am, Madam Mayor.
Okay. And I know typically what occurs, there's certain evidence that we have to get into the record so that we can establish whether or not there's a need. And typically our legal counsel obtains that information through questioning the applicant. Do you have legal representative present with you? Okay. Would you mind if Mr. Downs elicits all of the information he needs for the record through questioning you?
100%.
All right. And then all persons giving testimony must be sworn in, state their name, and be identified as being 21 years of age or older, and whether they reside or their business is within the relevant neighborhood. And I believe at this time we need to identify everybody who's going to provide testimony. Of course, that would be you, Mr. Ewing. Is there anybody else for?
No.
Okay. And would you administer the oath? And I guess, Mr. Downs, we also have to swear you in, right?
Well, Madam Mayor, I'm going to be questioning. I don't
Okay.
believe I need to be sworn in. I'm happy to
Oh.
swear to tell the truth.
Okay, I didn't know
But
if you were going to be providing independent testimony on behalf of the city.
I believe I will only be questioning
Oh,
Mr. Ewing,
very
if that's okay.
Okay.
And,
So you may administer the oath. Thank you.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth, or the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. At this point in time, we would provide an opportunity for opening statements from the applicant. And if you have an opening statement you care to share with us, it would be appropriate for you to do so at this time.
Well, I apologize because I
Oh,
started doing
no,
that.
quite all right.
You know, just like I was saying, I believe, especially with the area that we have, I know the concentration of the other food and beverage areas are on that main street. You know, we do have the other restaurants across the street from us, but I don't believe too much in that neighborhood where people can go and, you know, our hopes are is after a ball game at the college or after a ball game at the high school or even at the baseball field there, they stop in and our whole atmosphere is sports, good food, and again, family. If you can want an adult beverage, it's there for you, and that's why we're applying for the license.
And Mr. Downs, do you have an opening statement, or do you care to wait that?
I would waive any opening statement, Madam Mayor, and
I think we're at the point now where we will elicit evidence that you need from the applicant, so I'll let you proceed with your questioning.
thank you, ma'am. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of council. Good evening, Mr. Ewing. Mr. Ewing, I know that you have submitted a rather extensive application, and all the information I'm going to ask you about is in here, but I need to make sure it's on the record also.
Okay.
So if you have any questions, or any of my questions don't make sense, please feel free to stop me and just let me know. Okay, Mr. Ewing, first of all, you are one of two principals or members of PGE Enterprises LLC, is that correct?
Correct.
You and I believe your wife, Ms. Roberta Ewing?
Yes.
Okay, and sir, PGE Enterprises LLC is the company or the business entity that owns what is known as Crackalack Sports Grill, is that correct?
Correct.
And is Crackalack Sports Grill the trade name that you're going to be using for the premises in question?
Correct.
And how long, sir, have you and Mrs. Ewing owned PGE Enterprises LLC?
It would be 13 years.
Okay. And are you, I want to ask, there was some question, are you intending to keep the name Crackalack Sports Grill when you open? I heard that you may be considering changing the name, but is that what you intended?
No.
Okay. So you will be doing business under
Business
that?
as Crackalack Sports Grill. Correct.
Okay. And you are a 51% member and your wife is a 49% member, is that correct?
Correct.
And sir, you were a prior partner or owner of another liquor business, is that correct?
Correct.
A place called, I believe it was Sports Garden Bar and Grill?
Correct.
And are you a member, or are you still on that liquor license?
No.
How long have you been off that liquor license, if I might inquire?
I believe 14 years.
And do you own any other, or have any other interest or ownership in a liquor license premises?
No.
And as you were telling council before you were administered the oath, you have been in business at the present location for a Dairy Queen, is that correct?
Correct.
And before I forget, what is the address of the business, sir? I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
416 University.
And that is in Trinidad, Colorado?
Correct.
And sir, you and your wife submitted to background checks, is that correct?
Yes.
And as far as you know, those background checks came clear?
Yes.
You have a, as far as we know or you know, you both have a clear criminal history
Correct.
and have never been in trouble before.
No.
All right, now I want to ask you, sir, have you disclosed all of the financial interests that exists with respect to the ownership, first of all, of the business?
Correct.
And have you also provided, as part of your application, ownership documents which reflect accurately the ownership of the building?
Correct.
And I think there was a construction deed of trust, and I believe another document, but all the ownership documents or the financial interest documents are contained in the application, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so you have fully disclosed with respect to that any security interest that anybody may have in that building?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. And I'm about done, Mr. Ewing. You and your wife also provided the letters of reference.
Yes.
Okay, and a diagram of the premises.
Yes.
All right, now, you were requested by the city clerk to circulate a petition, is that, okay? And were you the petition circulator, sir?
No.
All right, would you tell us who was, please?
Marilyn Castillo, which she was a previous employee of ours and also is going to be a current employee. And then Justin Falsetto, which will be a future current employee.
Okay, and they did all of the petition circulating?
Correct.
And obtained, if our addition is correct, about 57 signatures for this application?
Correct.
And do you know, sir, if you were able to look at this, are there any people in opposition? That is, any people who signed it?
None I'm aware of.
Okay.
They
And
said they had great feedback.
And I understand that. So the people that were asked questions about this, it appears as if it was unanimous. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, now, Mr. Ewing, I just want to ask you a couple more questions, and that is, you were aware of your legal responsibilities if you were given a liquor license?
Correct.
And how many employees do you anticipate having at Crack-A-Lack Sports Grill?
10 minimum, 15 maximum.
And are they all going to be trained in alcohol sales, the do's and don'ts of alcohol sales?
Yes.
Are you familiar with what we call TIPS training? Sorry, that was TIPS training?
No.
Okay, it's a program done locally, but you will ensure that all your employees have the sufficient training to be able to sell alcoholic beverages.
Yes.
Will you have a day manager at the establishment, sir?
Yes.
And who is that going to be?
On a day-to-day basis, it would be a gentleman by the name of Pete Soto.
Okay, and Mr. Soto will be responsible for the daytime operations of?
Yes, I mean, day-to-day, I will be there also, but, I mean, he's the second in charge.
All right, now, Mr. Ewing, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on longer than I should.
No, sorry.
In a conversation previously with the mayor, she pointed out something very appropriate and apt, and that is a number of the addresses for you, and I believe your wife also, are in Pueblo West.
Correct.
And is that where you reside?
Correct.
And is that where you intend to remain?
Correct.
Okay. Will there always be a local contact person in case there was a problem?
Correct.
And will it be the day manager or the night manager?
Correct.
Okay. And you understand, sir, legally, not removing alcoholic beverages, not selling to a minor, all the things that are required of you if you're going to be given a liquor license.
Yes.
All right, and having circulated the petition, sir, or having had the petition circulated, is it your understanding that it's the needs of this community that another liquor license be issued to you?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of council, I don't have any other questions of Mr. Ewing.
Thank you. I'd like to give members of council who are the licensing authority the opportunity to ask questions. Are there any questions from members of council? Mr. Bonato? Yes, sir.
Mr. Ewing, I don't know if you can answer this question, maybe Mr. Downs can or Mr. Akers. As I went by today, I still noticed that the Dairy Queen signs were still up.
Correct.
Now, Mr. Downs, issuing this license, will that have any effect with these signs being up? Will these signs have to come down before any permanent licensing have to be distributed?
I believe, and I will tell you, Councilman Bonato, I don't know what the legal requirements are, but I believe the sign or signs saying Dairy Queen will have to come down. Before the license should issue, it will have to clearly reflect, any signage would, that it's now Crackalack Sports Grill. We don't want, people going thinking it's Dairy Queen
They're gonna
and
get a
getting
dealing bar.
Merlot. That's right.
And just so you know, the majority of those signs will be removed this Thursday.
Thank you.
This Thursday?
Yes.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to make an effort to get the one off the highway, but if I don't have the means, that could still be up, but it will be coming down soon.
Well, that just crossed my mind today because
No,
when I was in business before, with my stations and stuff, when you flew an animal sign, you had to sell their stuff, so. But thank you, Mr. Ewing, appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Downs.
Any other questions from council? And at this point in time, I'd like to see, do we have any member of the audience, person in interest, who would be interested in speaking for or against the application for a new license? Seeing none, I believe at this point in time, Mr. Downs, is there any additional questions or information that you need to provide?
Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of council, I do not have anything else, and I would ask that you receive the packet that has been tendered on behalf of this applicant and consider it in your deliberations for whether or not to issue the liquor license. I do believe that at least a threshold burden has been met. Of course, the issuance is up to you, but I do believe that legally a threshold burden has been met.
Very good. One last opportunity for questions, and if there are none at this point in time, I think it would be appropriate for any closing statements, if you would care to make one, or you, Mr. Downs, if you would care to make a closing statement.
No, ma'am, Madam Mayor, thank you.
That having been taken care of, I now close the public hearing, and at this point in time, we should have discussion and call for a motion, and I believe Mr. Downs provided us a copy of the petition plus a detailed motion which has to be read into the record. So at this point in time, I'm open to either a motion or additional questions.
I would make a motion for approval of the new hotel and restaurant liquor license request by PGE Enterprises.
All right, and I believe, Mr. Downs, is it necessary for us to read the entire statement?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I wish I could tell you otherwise, but it is necessary to read the whole thing.
And then recite the following findings.
Oh, thank you.
This matter came on for hearing on the application of PGE Enterprises LLC, DBA Crackalack Sports Grill at 4160 University Street in Trinidad, Colorado, for a hotel and restaurant liquor license before the City Council of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, acting in its capacity as the local licensing authority on October 1, 2013, in City Council chambers in City Hall. The City Hall, having reviewed the the City Council, having reviewed the application and supporting documents, letters of recommendation, reports of the city clerk and other city staff, petitions admitted into evidence at the hearing, and testimony taken during the hearing, makes the following findings. 1, the neighborhood consists of that area located within the city's corporate limits. 2, Richard Ewing testified in favor of granting the license. No other persons testified in favor of or in opposition to the granting of the license. 3, the city clerk's report showed that there are 39 liquor licensed outlets within the neighborhood. Of these, there are 4 3.2% beer off-premises licenses, 1 3.2% beer on-premises license, 1 club license, 13 hotel and restaurant licenses, one of which has optional premises, 8 liquor store licenses, and 10 tavern licenses, 1 arts license, and 1 beer and wine license. 4, the applicant submitted a petition regarding the liquor license application, which was admitted into evidence. A total of 57 signatures appeared on the petition, of which 57 were residents or business owners / managers from within the neighborhood, 21 years of age or older, all favoring issuance of a liquor license at this location. No petitions opposing the issuance of the license were submitted. 5, the applicant, through testimony and other evidence, made a prima facie showing that the reasonable requirements of the neighborhood are not being met by existing liquor outlets, and that the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood favor issuance of the license. 6, based on the evidence presented at the hearing and the investigative materials provided for the hearing, the City Council finds that the reasonable requirements of the neighborhood are not being met by existing liquor outlets, that the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood favor issuance of the license to the applicant, and that the applicant officers are of satisfactory moral character. Therefore, the City Council of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, as the local liquor licensing authority, hereby approves the application of PGE Enterprises, LLC, DBA Crack-A-Lack Sports Grill at 416 University Street in Trinidad, Colorado.
Motion by Ms. Bolton, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Shu. Any discussion or questions? And seeing none, I think we're ready for the roll call.
Bolton?
Yes.
Benado?
Yes.
Matei?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Velasquez?
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Ewing.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate
Good
your
luck.
patience with us.
No, thank you.
We have an additional hearing this evening, and I will now call that hearing to order. This is a public hearing on an application for the issuance of a new beer and wine liquor license filed by Moderano Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as Lee's Barbecue, located at 825 San Pedro Avenue. The procedure for receiving evidence concerning the applicant's request for issuance of a new beer and wine license will be governed by state law and city ordinances. The applicant has the burden of establishing that the city's granting of the applicant's request is warranted under applicable law. And is the applicant or representative of the applicant present and ready to proceed?
Yes.
Welcome. Please step up to the microphone and make sure it's directly in line. And if you would please state your name for the record, sir.
My name is Anthony C. Moderano. Everybody calls me Tony.
Welcome, Mr. Moderano. Is the city prepared to proceed?
I am, Madam Mayor, yes.
Okay, and all persons giving testimony must be sworn in, and I'm assuming, Mr. Martirano, you are the only individual who will be providing testimony?
Yes.
Okay, and if you will administer the oath at this time.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to give you an opportunity to do an opening statement. If you prefer not to do so, you can waive that.
No, that's fine. I don't have a problem doing an open statement.
Okay.
I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this. Our restaurant is mainly food. It's not alcohol and booze, you know. We just want to be able to provide another service to our community. We have a lot of, I'm going to say we have about 150 to 200 people that come in there a day. And we have many requests for a beer or a glass of wine. We're not going to get into the liquor business. We don't want to have to be able to mix a drink. And not only that, I don't know how to mix a drink. So we're just here to have and serve the people. Our business is flourishing with the Lee's product, and it's been going very well. And we just want to add to that is having if someone wants a beer or a glass of wine, that they're able to do that. It's not our primary business by far, and but we would like to have it available for people to have.
We know you make killer chili fries.
Well, that's our #1 seller.
Mr. Downs, do you have any opening statement?
I don't have an opening statement, Madam Mayor.
Well, next on the agenda is to elicit the information we need for the record, and when you're ready, I'll let you proceed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of council. Good evening, Mr. Martirano. Mr. Martirano, I note that on the application, the principals on the corporation, Martirano Enterprises, Inc., I believe that's Frank and Bernadette Martirano.
That's correct.
Okay, and is Mr. Frank Martirano in the audience?
Yes, he is.
Okay, and are you'll speak for him this evening? You'll be his
Absolutely.
designated hitter?
Yes.
Okay, all right, sir. So, even though I've already kind of answered my own question, the owner of Lee's Barbecue is Martirano Enterprises, Inc., is that right?
That's correct.
And would you please tell council, sir, who are the people that make up that corporation?
Right now, it's Bernie and Frank.
Okay, and Bernie and Frank, I'm assuming they're a married couple?
Yes.
Okay, and they are, as far as you know, the officers, directors, and shareholders of this corporation?
Right.
And the address of the premises, please, sir. The address.
825 San Pedro Avenue.
Okay, thank you. And you were saying earlier that Lee's Barbecue is primarily in the business of selling food. Is it fair to say that Martirano Enterprises is formed for and exists to own and operate Lee's Barbecue?
Yes.
All right. And is that the only business ownership or enterprise of Martirano Enterprises as far as you know?
Correct.
Okay, now sir, how long has Martirano Enterprises, Inc. owned Lee's Barbecue, if you know?
Exactly 1 year and 3 months.
Okay, and they bought it 15 months ago, approximately, or 14 months ago?
Yes.
And have you reviewed the application, sir, that was submitted in support? Okay, and you can represent to council that the information contained herein is true?
Yes.
And the letters of recommendation are from actual people who wrote those letters, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the diagram of the premises, that's an accurate reflection of Lee's Barbecue?
Yes.
And sir, is everyone, especially Frank and Bernadette Martirano, are they mindful of their legal obligations and what they have to do if given a liquor license in Trinidad?
That's correct, and believe me, it's been a toll on them, wondering how far do they have to go with this thing and how much it's going to take to to train people and the obligation to make sure that the people that are serving the alcohol, and one of the big questions is that how many drunks are we going to have coming in to have something to eat, and what do we do with them? There's been a lot of question about that kind of stuff, and we understand that what comes with the territory, things that we're going to have to take care of and make sure that we understand what's going on.
Good. And you understand that everyone who sells alcohol is going to have to be of sufficient age and also have training in terms of what they can or cannot do.
Absolutely.
Okay, and things like detecting signs of intoxication and not serving an intoxicated person.
Exactly.
Not allowing alcohol outside the premises.
We've had to send people out, even though we don't have alcohol, we had to send people out.
Okay. For being intoxicated, even though you didn't have a liquor
That's
license.
exactly right.
So you already have experience in
Yes,
throwing out drunk people.
absolutely.
Okay. Sir, the financial documents, that is, I know there's I believe a deed of trust in here, first of all. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay, and that is an accurate copy of the actual deed that exists on the property?
Yes.
Okay, and is there a mortgage on the property, do you know, sir?
There is no other mortgage except for what we have with the bank.
Okay, yeah, well, that's what I mean, so there is a mortgage with the
Right.
bank. All right, any other financial interests in either Moderano Enterprises, Inc. or Lee's Barbecue?
There's only one other obligation, and that's to Robert E. Lee himself, and that was the purchase of the Lee's name and also the franchise. I guess you could call it a franchise, but it's the purchasing of the recipes of three different types of food, and we had to make a deal on that.
Okay, is Mr. Lee considered to still be a partial owner in
No,
those?
absolutely not.
Okay, so in terms of ownership and financial interests, all of that has been disclosed in this application, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, now, sir, did you review the petition that was circulated in support of this liquor license application?
Yes, I did, and I was partly responsible for that, and neglected to be able to fulfill as much as I wanted to on that. We had one employee go out and circulate that petition.
Okay, and who was that employee, sir?
His name was Phil Lopez.
Okay, and Mr. Lopez obtained all the signatures that we see on this petition. And sir, there was, I believe, one minor who signed the petition. Did you know that?
I heard that, yeah.
Okay, I think I told you that before the
Yes.
meeting, okay. And so of the 26 signatures, 25 being valid in residents of Trinidad, do you know how many people were in favor of the liquor license
I
application?
believe they were all in favor.
Okay, and sir, you understand the community or the area in which we're talking about is the city of Trinidad.
Say that again?
Well, it's the city of Trinidad. We talk about the community, the needs of the community. So it's the whole city of Trinidad. You understand that?
Yes, I believe there's a need for, in different areas. Our need is not so much providing alcohol for people that want to drink. We're providing alcohol for people that are eating and want to enjoy a drink. Okay, so it's not the same as you would be for a bar or an establishment that's all they do, and I think we have plenty of that. Okay, this here is just a convenience. We don't want anybody coming in there, sitting down and ordering a drink. If you don't order something to eat, you're not going to get a drink. Okay, it's made for just to provide somebody that's going to want a glass of wine with their pasta, or maybe have a glass of beer or a bottle of beer with their chili fry, but that's about it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moderano. So is it your understanding that it is the desire of the inhabitants of the community that were polled for Lee's Barbecue and Moderano Enterprises, Inc. to have this liquor license? And sir, just so the record is clear, Mr. and Ms. Moderano understand their legal obligations if they get
Absolutely.
requests. Okay. And sir, how long have you lived in Trinidad?
All my life.
How long have Mr. and
70
Ms.
years.
Okay, well, I was gonna ask. And both of the applicants, both of the applicants, Frank and Bernadette Moderano, are they lifelong residents of Trinidad, sir, as far as you know?
They've been here all their life.
Okay, that was what I was trying to ask. Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of council, I don't have any other questions of Mr. Moderano.
Very good. Mr. Downs, just to nail down the record, I know Mr. Frank Moderano is in the audience. Would you like him to just make an appearance and identify himself?
Great idea. Mr. Frank Moderano, would you
Mr.
come up?
Moderano, could you please come forward and just identify yourself? We just want to make sure the record is absolutely clear you were present.
Okay, my name's Frank Moderano.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Mr. Moderano?
I don't. Is there anything you would like to add, sir? Anything that Mr. Anthony Moderano didn't bring out? Okay. You look relieved that you didn't have to answer all those questions.
Thank you so much. I just want to make sure the record's 100% clear on that. At this point in time, I would like to give the opportunity to members of City Council, who are the licensing authority, to ask questions regarding this particular application. Are there any questions?
It could be a loaded question, a lot of these guys.
And seeing none, at this point in time, I would like to ask if there is any member of the audience who is here to speak either in favor or against granting the new license. And if so, would you please stand and come forward, and we'll give you an opportunity to provide your input. And seeing none, I think our next order of business is to provide an opportunity for closing arguments. I don't know if you have a little closing statement you'd like to share with us?
All I'd like to say is that we appreciate the opportunity to be able to serve people with the alcohol that we're talking about, beer and wine.
Thank you. And Mr. Downs, your opportunity for a closing statement?
Madam Mayor, thank you. I don't have a closing statement. I just would also, or I should say again, like to have this submission stand on its own. I believe there has been a threshold showing of the needs of the community. And we just ask you to consider it as it's submitted.
Thank you. At this point, I will close the public hearing. And the next order of business is discussion, call for a motion, and vote on the motion. And once again, Mr. Downs has graciously prepared a document that must be read into the record in connection with the motion. And do I have a volunteer?
Councilwoman Bolton.
All right, this will be a
This might take a
motion
little while.
by Councilman Mette.
Okay, here we go. This matter came on for hearing on the application of Moderano Enterprises Incorporated doing business as Lee's Barbecue at 825 San Pedro Avenue in Trinidad, Colorado, for a beer and wine liquor license before the City Council of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, acting in its capacity as local licensing authority on October 1st, 2013 in the City Council chambers in City Hall. The City Council, having reviewed the application and supporting documents, letters of recommendation, reports of the city clerk and other city staff, petitions admitted into evidence at the hearing, and testimony taken during the hearing, makes the following findings. 1, the neighborhood consists of an area located within the city's corporate limits. Tony Moderano testified in favor of granting a license. No other persons testified in favor of or in opposition to the granting of that license. Number 3, the city clerk's report shows that there are 39 liquor license outlets within the neighborhood. Of these, there are 4 3.2% off-premise beer licenses, 1 3.2 beer on-premise license, 1 club license, 13 hotel and restaurant licenses, 1 of which has optional premises, 8 liquor store licenses and 10 tavern licenses, 1 arts license and 1 beer and wine license. Number 4, the applicant submitted a petition regarding the liquor license application, which was admitted into evidence. A total of 26 signatures appeared on the petition, of which 25 were residents or business owners or managers from within the neighborhood, 21 years of age or older, all favoring issuance of the liquor license at this location. No petitions opposing the issuance of the license were submitted. Number 5, the applicant through testimony and other evidence made a prima facie showing of the reasonable requirements of the neighborhood that are not being met by existing liquor outlets, and that the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood favored the issuance of the license. Item 6, based on the evidence presented at the hearing and the investigative materials provided for the hearing, the City Council finds that the reasonable requirements of the neighborhood are not being met by existing liquor outlets, and the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood favor issuance of a license to the applicant, and that the applicant officers are of satisfactory moral character. Therefore, the City Council of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, as the local liquor licensing authority, hereby approves the application of Matarano Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as Lee's Barbecue at 825 San Pedro Avenue, for a beer and wine liquor license at 825 San Pedro Avenue in Trinidad, Colorado.
Thank you. May I have a second? Second. Ms. Velasquez has offered a second. Since we have a motion and a second, is there any discussion? And seeing none, I think we're ready for the roll call.
Bolton?
Yes.
Donato?
Yes.
Matei?
So that the Lee's tradition continues, I say yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Velasquez?
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, be
Congratulations.
successful.
Yes.
Thank
Now
you.
I
Thank
can
you,
have
sir.
a Coors with my chili fries. Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is agenda item 3, and that's petitions or communications, oral or written. And we're going to check to see if anyone has signed up. I think I remember seeing at least one signature on there.
What's this for? Just a sign?
Thank you, Ms. Valencic. We have 3 individuals who have signed up, and I noticed one is Mr. Ewing, but I think he has left the premises. The first individual to address council is Mr. Rob Millspaw. Welcome.
Yes, Mayor, that's correct, thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm glad I didn't mangle your name.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Trinidad City Council, my name is Rob Millspaw, and I'm here to discuss a grievous oversight that the city of Trinidad has perpetuated on me. In November of 2010, I was selected as a finalist for the planning director position for the city. Mr. Ed Gilderubio, the former city manager, when he invited me for this interview, said that he would reimburse me for my travel expenses to and from the city of Trinidad. I was in the process of relocating from the Pacific Northwest to New Mexico at the time, and so I suggested that mileage for one-way travel to drive down, and then my airfare back, and Mr. Gilderubio said that would be fine. It is now October of 2013. I have yet to see a reimbursement check from the city of Trinidad for my travel expenses as were promised by Mr. Gilderubio. I have 28 emails back and forth between Mr. Gilderubio and Anna Ridolfi, and each one of them, well, most of them were not responded to, but there were quite a few excuses. For example, one time the excuse was the city didn't have the money to pay me. Next time the excuse was, well, we're doing an audit, we'll have to wait till the audit's complete. One excuse was, well, the other 2 candidates did not want to be reimbursed for their travel expenses. And I'm thinking, well, that doesn't mean that all 3 of them didn't want to be reimbursed for the travel expenses. I've also written a letter to the Honorable John Reno, the former mayor, which was dated in June of 2012. which I stated that I was invited to participate in the City of Trinidad's interview for the position of planning director. At that time, I was promised by then City Manager Ed Gilday-Rubio that the City of Trinidad would reimburse me for my travel expenses. Although I submitted both mileage and airfare costs to the City of Trinidad 3 times, I have yet to receive payment. To recap, I drove 1,514 miles from my home in Seattle to Trinidad, and then return one-way airfare was $204.10. I've made numerous inquiries to both Ed Gilday-Rubio and Anna Ridolfi as to the status of this payment. During one of my electronic inquiries, I wrote, I was informed when I spoke with Anna on October 13, 2011, that a check was to be mailed to me after approval by the City Council next Monday, which would have been October 17, 2011. Here it is now November 20th, 2011. I've still not received payment from the City of Trinidad for my interview expenses. I now harbor serious doubts that the City of Trinidad will ever honor its word to me in this matter. And of course, I went to say that, and I understand that Mr. Gilday-Rubio was removed in the March 6, 2012 council meeting as city manager, and we have a new city manager. Where I come from, ladies and gentlemen, a promise is a promise is a promise. I drove all the way from Surprise, Arizona, my hometown, to be here this evening to let you know that I'm seeking a lady reimbursement for my travel expenses. And I would appreciate anything that the council would do to effectuate this.
Thank you, Mr. Millspaw. I believe since you are here, we really need to accelerate a look at this situation. And I'd recommend that perhaps as soon as business hours tomorrow open at 8 a.m., that you have dialogue with our new city manager, Mr. Tom Aker. And I'm terribly sorry that, it has taken this long to give you a response or some action. I'm terribly sorry about that, but I'm sure Mr. Aker, you'll make arrangements to look into this first thing tomorrow.
I will. This is the first I've heard of it, so
Yes.
we'll take a look at it, get it resolved.
Yes.
It's not likely that we are able to locate a record of all that you're carrying in another folder. Would you be able to provide us a copy of everything you have, together with any written agreements you may have made with Mr. Gilday-Rubio for the initial situation? And secondly, I'm trying to take notes as you were speaking, but I missed, what's the total dollar amount you believe you are
The
getting?
airfare was $204.10, and Mr. Gilday-Rubio said we will pay your mileage for your miles. I don't recall what the IRS figure was back then, but it was 1,514 miles one way from my home.
So what's the mileage?
I
Or the mileage amount? You don't know.
haven't done the math, but it would probably be close to
Tell me the mileage, you get 1,500,
1,514
that's one way?
one way. I drove down, flew back because I was in the process of moving at the
Okay.
time. I moved to New Mexico.
But yet you drove from Arizona to be here tonight?
I drove from Arizona to be here tonight. I moved from Seattle to New Mexico in 2010. I've
Where-
now since moved to Arizona. I drove from Arizona to here.
Okay, you currently reside in Arizona,
That is correct.
having been to New Mexico first.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
The next individual who signed up to speak is Mr. Bob Quist. Mr. Quist, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And I see you're going to educate us on referendum 5A.
Well, okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you, Madam Mayor, and members of council. I am Bob Quist. I'm the Chief Executive Officer at Mount San Rafael Hospital. I've been there about 18 months. I'm a resident of Trinidad. I wasn't born here like some that are with us tonight. I wasn't raised here, but I got here as soon as I could.
That's great.
That's they can offer.
Good.
And I have to
Good
tell you,
points for that.
That's good. I've got to start using that. That's good.
for me personally, this is a very bleak evening because I love Dairy Queen's Vanilla Coke. And it's the only reason I came to Trinidad.
Mr. Ewing, I think, is headed back to Pueblo.
In all seriousness, I have an opportunity this evening, I hope, to give you a little bit of background on where we are and why we, as a health services district and as a hospital, are supporting referendum 5A. Those of you that may not be aware, a referendum asks the voters in the community to support the hospital and related health needs to the tune of 7 mills, which is about $2.6 million annually. I think I mentioned to, certainly throughout the community at different times, and possibly even the city council, that in the state of Colorado, there are 26 rural hospitals. There are only two that do not receive any kind of support from their community, their county, city, health service district, hospital district. We're one of those two. The other one is Fruita, and Fruita's situation, as most of you know, is they're more urban than they are rural. We're very rural in terms of our designation. The average contribution through taxing authorities to these other county hospitals or these other facilities in these rural communities runs about $3.6 million. We're asking for enough to help us to support the increasing level of charity care, but more than that, to allow us to have a safety net so that some of the things that we've identified over the last 18 months, at least since I've been here, we can move forward on. Many of you participated, I think, about a little over a year ago when we did a very extensive community needs assessment. As you know, for a nonprofit entity, the IRS requires that we do this on a periodic basis, generally at least every 2 to 3 years. This was our first in quite a while, and we involved a great number of community leaders. We had several meetings. We utilized services of the nonprofit Colorado Rural Health Group out of Colorado Springs, and they helped us to bring together the ideas, the concerns, the issues that the community had regarding health services, not just hospital, but throughout the county. And it was very enlightening to me. Many of the things that were brought up, and I kind of got on at the end of it because I didn't start my position till May of last year, but I certainly got brought up to speed very quickly by the types of meetings that we had, the depth of the information that was presented, the input from the leaders in the community, like yourselves and many other people. And even though I'd only been there a few short months, I have, and I hate to even mention this, but I have about a half a century of healthcare experience. I know it's hard to imagine somebody as young looking as I am, but I'm one of those hospital brats. I was an orderly in high school, and you know, I literally have been in healthcare. I've been a CEO in hospitals for the last 37 or 8 years. I've tried to retire like some of you, and several times, and it hasn't stuck. But in any event, I have enough experience, and it didn't take me very long to recognize some of the very key issues that we're dealing with here. And I want to assure you, and I want to assure the public, that we have taken these issues very seriously. We've worked on them. We know we've been a controversial issue within the community for a lot of years. But we very quickly realized that there were some things we could do that were going to improve, not so much the quality of care. We've had a very good, high-level quality of care at the hospital, but the personal care, let me call it that, the community relations, the public relations, the service attitude. And we've worked very hard on doing a great deal of that. We have brought in a new manager for our rural health clinic, and she's done a phenomenal job over the last 6 months. We've corrected some processes that were broken. We still have more to go. We've got some business office issues that fortunately we have a very good chief financial officer, and he's working on those. We're ticking them off as we go. And I want to assure the council, and I want to assure the public, that if the voters are kind enough to support this referendum, that we will be good stewards of those dollars, and that they will be put to good use. When I walked into the situation, quite frankly, we were in intensive care. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it.
Mr.
We were
Cross,
on life support.
I'm sorry, so council kind of has a 3-minute rule for...
I apologize.
And I don't mean to be the timing Nazi, I just,
That's
if you could
okay.
please kind
So
of...
do I get credit? Last time I didn't take 3 minutes.
Yes, no, you don't.
Let me wrap it up.
I'm sorry.
I just want the council to know that great changes have taken place and additional things are happening. We are getting close to getting us back financially stable, but we have no opportunity to grow. We can't add the key services that need to come into this community, whether it's orthopedics, oncology, expanded E.R. We just have no safety net, and we need this. And I would hope that the council would seriously consider individually, I realize as a body this may not be something you can do, but individually, if you'd be kind enough to continue or to consider supporting our effort. And I brought a cover sheet, and I'm through. I brought some of our yes on referendum 5A. You will see yard signs going up, bumper stickers, all the nonsense that happens when you get into a campaign. But this is so critical to our community. Our hospital, as you well know, is an economic driver here, and we just don't need another problem. So, thank you very
Mr.
much.
Quist.
Did you get to say everything that you wanted to say?
I did.
Well, because of the vital role that the hospital plays to the well-being of this
Thank you very
community, I
much.
would waive the time to get you the opportunity
No,
to say anything you didn't say.
He does that to me a lot. He just said, this one
Hold
No,
on.
I appreciate that.
I'm over here and you're down there.
Well, I want to respect your time. If there's any questions that you have, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Mr. Quest, as we move forward in attempting to attract economic development, the conditions of the schools and the hospitals are critical
That's my point.
to decisions being made, whether someone's going to relocate here. And I believe this is the ideal time to explore perhaps joint meetings between the board of the hospital and city council so that we can get a better understanding of our mutual needs, that we can support each other, to build bridges instead of fences. So I hope you will take that message back and then communicate with Mr. Aker, and perhaps we can have a joint meeting sometime very soon.
That would be great. The last thing you need to understand, which you probably do, is the Health Services District Board will be an elected board. It's been appointed only because it basically had gone inactive, and for us to save all the legal fees of trying to do a new district, we took what was out there, but an election occurs in May, and so the funds, if they're approved, will be overseen by a group of 5 elected members. And I think that's been an issue in the past with people.
Ms. Miles.
I just wanted to check a figure that I read in the paper.
Sure.
I read that the average impact for someone owning a $150,000 home would be about $74 a year.
Yeah, $7 a month. That's correct. We checked that with the county assessor's office. It's a little higher for businesses, and that's why we met with the Chamber of Commerce last week. But the businesses also understand that, economic growth is largely dependent on what type of infrastructure we have here, whether it's city government, hospitals, education, so.
Well, as a business owner and a council member, I just think you've done a great job at the hospital.
Thank you. We're trying hard. I know it's frustrating, those of you that have dealt with issues for a lot of years, but we're open. We've got a good management team. I've been able to bring together, I think, a great group of people.
Just one more question. What would be your top priorities with the revenues you'd achieve here?
Well, what we hear constantly, quite frankly, is orthopedics, which is just a basic service, and we have enough to within the community to easily support an orthopedist. Oncology, not a full oncology service, but it's just it's sad that we have so many members that are of the community going through chemotherapy that have to drive to Pueblo or the Springs in a condition where they already feel lousy, then they have their treatment there and they've got to drive all the way home. We can do that here. We can do that safely. Emergency room continues to grow. I don't know if the council has a sense of this, but we have one of the finest emergency departments in the state. And I'm not talking about rural. I mean, they are outstanding. We've got board certified individuals, we've got a great staff, great ambulance service within the community, working well together. So that's kind of the priority. The other thing that we want to do is we need to do a strategic plan for all of the community and try to get a feel at that point for what we need to do with an aging facility. These funds will not replace the facility. They will keep us going, but we may need to do some renovation.
I would hope that attracting and retaining medical doctors.
Yes, thank you. That is absolutely, and you'll see it on our sheet here, retention and recruiting.
One last question, you didn't mention cardiology, and there's a great
And
need.
because I forgot. Cardiology is on that sheet too. You guys are doing better than I am. You're doing much better.
Having a pacemaker, I'm real interested in what you gotta say next.
Yeah, we actually have had discussions, and we haven't announced this publicly, with the University of Colorado cardiology group in Colorado Springs.
Excellent. That's a
Dr.
good
Glass,
facility.
who has been coming down here once a month. We've asked him if he'll come down weekly, and then we are going to support him any way that we can, so that we've got at least weekly coverage, and we'd like to expand that beyond that. We think there's an opportunity to have a cardiologist in our community.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Twist, and
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
again,